Nope. Yep. There we go. I had the wrong screen up at first, but here we are back at Copa America, guys. Welcome back to a brand new best of 5 here in the quarterfinals. This is R08 Catz, Jonsnow, Zerg versus Zerg, you name it. But spawning here in the top left corner of the map, from Solaris Gaming, the blue Zerg player, Jonsnow. I have to unmute Zombie Grub. Sorry, one sec. Okay, go.
Thank you. That was the red Zerg in the upper right. It is R08 Catz.
Sorry, I kind of sat down as the game was starting, guys. Ran for my quick BRB and barely got the intros in. Barely got a little bit flustered here, but we're good to go. Now, one thing I'm a little bit curious for Catz here is we see the earlier gas, but you know we saw a lot of 13-13s out of him for the qualifiers for the group stages. Are we going to see a 13 pool? Do you think?
Maybe even it's a 12 pool. It's a 13 gas 12 pool.
Or well, 13 gas 12 pool. Sorry. My point on this was this is the earlier thing that we've seen a lot of. If Jonsnow has seen any of his qualifier play, he'll know this was the case. There was a lot of like interesting tweets about how Catz was getting blind countered a lot doing this build because, guys, there was a lot of ZVZs in this tournament. If you've only just tuned into Copa America, there's very little Protoss, a very few amount of Terran, but a lot of Zergs playing. And Catz has had his fair share of ZVZs leading up to this point.
We do have Jonsnow going for his own 15 pool. So we would say basically no worries, but that no worries thing only lasts like a minute. What we usually see is that Catz, whether or not he gets a good start with this 13 or 12 pool in this instance, it's the later stages that gets a little like, you know, twice we've seen Catz do this, get some damage or no damage, and then continue to all in from there, and we're like, oh, it's, you know, it's not worked yet, so it's probably not gonna work, and then he pulls out a win. So whether or not this actually does damage, even in the beginning stages, like, don't think anything of it, kind of.
Yeah, as soon as you said no worries, immediately started singing Hakuna Matata in my head.
Exactly.
Alright, so, I mean, he knows this is coming now. He saw it with the Overlord. Double Spine Crawlers is a very odd thing to see, but when you see early Lings, you don't necessarily know what's coming behind it. If it's Banelings, the 2 Spine Crawlers fantastic. But because it's not, I almost feel like this is a big waste. Catz has already done damage.
Yeah, guys, we usually see one spine crawler, and even then, if it's this quote-unquote, if it's not a 10 pool or a 6 pool, they may not even throw down any at all. Oh my god. Oh my god. That lair. That lair.
One base lair. Catz, what are you up to?
Are you going one base Swarm Host?
I've seen
Is this 2004? Like,
I don't think it is. I don't think it is. I've seen a lot of ZVZs, but I've never, not in a long time at least, seen one base Slayer.
Have you seen 2013 Heart of the Swarm release ZVZs?
No.
They're very specific, Rifkin.
Alright, we'll see if this is. I mean, Catz is like the master of weird tactics, right? I mean, there's a reason a lot of his builds get sort of used by some of the Koreans. Not just because it's for haha or where they want some quick fandom for a weird build, but it's usually because they're strange enough to work. If this is one base, I mean, I can only imagine it's one base Swarm Host, because like, what else would you possibly do off of one base?
Really, really, really fast meters?
Yo, fast ultras. This is actually not just a lair, fast hive.
If it's the invitation pit, it's probably gonna be for fast hive. Just saying, no.
Yeah. That would be really cool, though. No, a really fast spire?
Okay, so here's the reason why I think this wasn't a good idea. And that's because one Spore Crawler literally takes down so many mutas that if you're only going to get 3 mutas, I'm not sure it's worth it.
Literally. We're doing this still. No, we're still doing this thing. No, you're right. The 2 base gases, or the 1 base gas, what makes this odd. If his opponent had Banelings, this would be the smartest, coolest move, though, because you only need about 3 mutalists to suddenly give yourself a lot of power. But at the same token, I kind of feel like you could have done this normally and come out with the same results. Oh my god, this one lane.
Get the lane!
Don't let this scout. The queen's out of position too! Okay, he didn't see it. There's no way he saw that.
He saw one base lair.
Okay, he saw the lair, but it doesn't necessarily mean Spire, because it could be what you and I were theorizing, like, oh my god, is it Swarm Host? Like, WTF, mate? But, Spire, I mean, it's really 2 things. It's either Spire or Swarm Host. There's not a lot of in between there. Like, what are you gonna do, 1 base Hydralisks? No, that's more absurd than the other options.
Okay, so he's gonna have 5 mutas. But, you know... Oh my god.
No, he's not. The mineral count. He's gonna have 2 mutas.
Dude. Yo, 2 mutas can't even take down the queen, I think.
Okay, the 3 mutas may be microed. Either way, there's a spore crawler out. I mean, this is so incredibly weird. There's not just one, there's 4.
He knew exactly what was going on. He wasn't like, oh, maybe it could be.
Isn't Jonsnow supposed to know nothing? Isn't that how that works?
He knows everything.
You know, oddly enough, they've got the same amount of workers, though. Because Jonsnow has invested so heavily in static defense, guys. 4 spore crawlers, 2 spine crawlers, and extra queens. That's drones lost, quote-unquote, through the buildings. That's the extra minerals spent on the static defenses. I gotta tell you, Catz doesn't have to kill a single unit, and I think he's actually done adequate damage.
Also keep in mind that Jonsnow, having not gone for early gas, didn't have speedlings, so really Catz was in control of this entire game. Even though, yes, he did get a very good scout, you know, he saw exactly what he needed to see, he was never feeling like 100% comfortable. Catz is always the one that had like 20 speedlings trying to break into Jonsnow's base.
This is such a weird way to see this game get played out.
But it's working. Like, in fact, Catz is even a little bit ahead.
That's what I'm talking about. Like, so many times we see this kind of go to the boring Roach versus Roach, blah, blah, blah. We talk about how we cast this the same way every single time. But Catz has changed it up a little bit. He did this weird thing where he ate his dessert before his dinner by going for the 1-base lair. But, again, he's got a drone lead without having killed any drones so far this game.
It's exactly like you would do it if you went for a 2-base muta. You know, you go to 2-base muta, you sacrifice maybe like faster roaches, but you get the faster third because you have the map control. It's exactly how a normal game would go, except it just happened a lot sooner.
This guy, he's going to not only build the third, he's going to get the third. Fog, or sorry, not Fog. Oh my god, I was calling him Jonsnow rather than I'm calling Jonsnow Fog. Jonsnow is investing in ranged weapon upgrades. His lair, admittedly, late. So, I mean, he doesn't want to push with just a couple of roaches. He's obviously going to want a handful of hydras if possible. I mean, that third base for Catz is going to get built. Whether it stays up or not later on, that's a whole nother can of worms. But I'm quite frankly astonished he's getting away with this, and a lot of this comes down to what you were describing a moment ago, where he's got map control. Look at that Overlord spread. Look at the Zerglings waiting at the third to kill any drones that come down here. Middle is constantly harassing in and out of the main.
Yeah.
I mean, kids, even if Catz loses this game, this has been a perfect example of how map control works in StarCraft 2.
Yeah. And he won't lose the game, not anytime soon anyways. You know, Jonsnow might have a roach count right now, but Catz, he's going to have enough surely for defenders' purposes, and it's one thing Jonsnow will have is, of course, double upgrades. He went for a gasless style until 5 minutes. You get faster roaches and you get faster upgrades. That's what you kind of just, you know, that's what you go on. You know, they got the faster third, but at least you have the better upgrades. And with only 4 mutas left, he will not have that difficult of a time getting a third. Oh wow, really fast infestors?
I guess. I mean, I wouldn't write Swarmhouse out of the equation, but Infestors just seem like the smarter choice right now.
It's the more common, even though it is still kind of rare. Swarmhouse is like the rarest, I suppose. Infestors on 2-base, obviously they cost a lot of gas. What's kind of difficult about using them is that if Catz like gets a you know, he sees this somehow with the mute or something like that, he could try and overwhelm with roaches. Investing a lot into not just the actual infestors, but also the impatient bit as well as the pathogen glands. So you can see some players try and get up to the tech and then lose on just the plain army count.
I'm still trying to get over the fact that this game is where it is. I mean, Catz is like not just a couple of drones ahead now. His supply is very far ahead of his opponent. It's 30 versus 26. I mean, he's down in upgrades. He's got that working against him, I guess.
Yeah, and he's going to be down in tech because the infestors will pop out, but even then I don't think there's going to be enough infestors to really compensate for how far Catz's ahead is in the Roach Wars, which is what I was talking about. But I was trying to think, like, what would it be if Jonsnow didn't go for the gasless style? You know, he actually had speedlings of his own. I think he would have, you know, there's got to be something, like, Catz can't keep doing this every single ladder game, right? Like the 1-base layer muta. Like, there's got to be, like, hard counters and stuff that he just can't do it to. I was trying to think maybe what that would have been.
The Infestor's okay. Here's how this is gonna work, guys. If Jonsnow attacks into Catz, the problem is Catz might not be. He might not have the same upgrades. He won't have 2-2, but he'll be on 2-0 ideally. So for Jonsnow, he's going to be attacking into a defensive concave against an opponent who has area units. Granted, he's got a couple infestors. Sure, mix that into the equation, but the reality is, Catz is going to have the defender's advantage on top of the supply lead. And a lot of the times in Roach versus Roach, yeah, that +2 armor is fantastic, but if you've got an extra 30 Roaches, you're going to win that fight, bottom line.
Yeah. This is supply block Catz for a little bit, but they're most, well, he's
pretty much max. I mean,
yeah, he's pretty much max, and that is going to be the timing for him to say, okay, I'm going to push out, because I'm going to be max. He should have done a hydrogen or an
It's 62 Roaches to 38! It's just a numbers game at this point. Jonsnow is going to need a miracle to hold. Fungal in range of the Spine Crawler. Get the perfect transfuses. Hell, I don't even know if that's going to cut it. Cat segments Roaches off towards the natural. I mean, even with those ones missing, I still think he can take a decent fight here in the middle of the map. I mean, he's going to lose out, but the question is how well he can lose out.
The upgrades kick in for Jonsnow in the nick of time, so he's going to be up by
2-1, 1-0.
2, maybe even 3 in a couple of seconds here.
But the Roaches have cleared out the mineral line. Natural base, dead and empty. The rest of the drones pulled to the middle of the map because it's the only place they can run to.
This is Naga. He does win that fight in the middle, but just look at supplies. You can see what's going on. In fact, these Roaches still not cleaned up. And Jonsnow.
It loses a queen. That's really going to hurt too on top of this. I mean, Jonsnow's third is finally up. It's a gold base, but it might actually go down if not careful. He's not responding to this with anything other than queens. Catz did a lot of damage. I mean, look at the supply lead. Look at the supply difference. At this point, Catz is still just majorly ahead. And he's done this off of having vastly inferior upgrades. That wasn't 2-0 versus 2-1. That was 2-1 versus 1-0.
It's pretty. It was pretty good for
the
any other
mutas!
position. The mutas up
They become effective once again, picking up a couple of drones.
I really didn't like the I never like infestors over just more roaches. Honestly, seriously, they just aren't what they were in Wings of Liberty, where they could come back.
I'll disagree, because if he didn't land that fungal in the middle of the map, Catz would have pulled back and never taken that fight. Jonsnow would have never gotten to kill those roaches in the first place. I mean, it's good for forcing fights like we see going down here once again. This is forcing Catz into a terrible engagement. But the problem is Catz is on 3 bases. He's got the money to lose these units. Jonsnow doesn't. In fact, there's still roaches going into the main. I mean, I agree sometimes they're really bad, but in this instance, it was kind of the best of the weirdest, worst scenarios, in my opinion.
I don't know. I still don't like them that much. You know, A, they didn't add a whole lot to the actual army, but also B, you have to stick them together with the army, so there's no splitting up, and that's what Catz took advantage of.
Yeah.
But it did just all, like, you know, become that snowball because of the openers anyways. So whether or not the infestors were the greatest idea in the world, it doesn't honestly matter. Like, you would literally have to go back into the game and, like, take command and say, like, don't go infestors, and see how that worked out to really be like...
I can't get over how far Catz, like, climbed ahead off of doing 0 damage, by the way. Like, when have you ever seen that happen in ZVZ? Because I gotta say, never for me.
No, it happens all the time. Like, if you... The thing is, like, we usually don't see it. To this extent? I mean, yeah, we usually don't see it. It's either so, like, marginal, or a player isn't affected by it. But when a player doesn't know what's going on, they are being mentally affected by it. Like, that's why they don't drone as hard. That's why they don't take a third, because they have no idea what's going on.
Even with the defender's advantage, Jonsnow won't be able to pull it out, guys. This is his last stand, his last hurrah. The spine crawler falls. The queens are going to go down. One infested Terran comes out in defiance. But GG well played is thrown down, and Catz will take game number 1. I love StarCraft 2, man. Games like this, I love StarCraft 2. I don't know what to say. You think you've seen it all, as far as cheesy openings go, as far as weird openings go. Catz, as you said, I guess, the mental damage, the psionic attack, whatever you want to call it. Way too good. But of course, that's only one game, and this is a best of 5, guys, so far from over. Sorry, far from over. We still got this best of 5 ready to rock and roll. At least 2 more games, possibly 4. But the remaining maps in this are Overgrowth, Way Station, Merry-Go-Round, and King Sejong Station in that order. I currently do not know the score of B-Lord versus Ruff, but that is being broadcast on the Spanish channel. So while you might not be able to speak Spanish, if you're a huge Ruff fan, that's where you can go watch that match being played out right now. But no commercials, guys. So hold off for now. We've been playing quite a few of them leading up to this point. We'll just wait for the lobby to go up. I gotta tell you, I hope it's not showing through too much, guys. I am fighting tooth and nail to cast this with, like, the sore throat that I have. Holy schmoly. We did too much yelling at MLG Anaheim. Too much crowd hype. Overgrowth will be the next map, though. Let's go get that set up here in the introductions. But Anaheim was really cool. I mean, I don't know if anyone in chat right now is one of the few people who joined us on this. Day number 3. We gathered up a good, like, 20 to 25-ish people. And we were basically the middle row. Like, there's 3 rows for the StarCraft main stage. We were basically the middle row. And, like, anytime you heard a chant on day 3, that was us being total nerdy cheerleaders. Just like, alright, guys, alright, this time, we're gonna chant for Scarlet, okay? Alright, on 3. 1, 2, like, Scarlet, Scarlet!
We never cheered for anything else, don't even lie. That one guy was like, well, what about we cheer for Polt this time? No.
Yeah, no. No, but it was really cool. It was a lot of fun. But, oh, man, I completely wrecked my voice doing that. Like, I've been drinking chicken noodle soup and hot water.
What I was doing? I totally would be with you guys with the whole, like, you know, like, hoarse voice thing, except I was drawing. I was like,
yeah, oh, my God. I can't wait for Gillyweed to post the craft stars things. Like, that Zombie Up drew. It was so good.
I'm gonna draw fan art of these guys next time and hand them in. I'm gonna get posters on it.
Oh, you should have done like a Phoenix Wright version of like Todd. Like, how cool would that have been?
Wait, Todd doing what though? Like,
do you know what Phoenix Wright is?
Yeah, I know. Like, they call like objection.
Yeah, so just have like Todd in like the objection stance, or like the other guy who's just got his arms crossed as like the counter. Like,
dude, that should be Todd and Catz. I heard something about their casting. Never actually saw it, but that sounds like Todd.
Have Catz go like objection, and Todd could just sit there with his arms crossed, like looking really unimpressed.
No, he'd look really angry. He'd be like that thing that's like on like when they're at the fists are on the thing.
Yeah, like the little wincy thing, like ugh.
Yeah.
Oh my God! Can you play like irrelevant? Can you just do that? Like, can you just do that? Like when we're done casting tonight, open up like freaky paint or something.
How much money I could make if this got really popular and people just started commissioning me like really silly stuff like this.
Zombie Gub, there's only one way to find out.
I know. I gotta start it. I gotta do it. We have like the super official, really cool, like really great art, honestly. But then we have like the silly. Well, Carbot silly, but anyways.
I apparently had host. Oops. Game's starting, guys. See you in a sec. Alright, welcome back to the game, guys. This is Copa America, round of 8, a best of 5. Spawning in the top right corner of the map from Root Gaming. Root for Root, ladies and gentlemen, it is Catz.
In the bottom left, it's the Blue Zerg. It is Jonsnow.
John who?
Jonsnow.
Okay.
That's how you say it.
Jonsnow.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think, Co-Castorino here? What do you think's gonna happen in this game?
Well, it's already past 13 supplies, so I guess it's not 13-13. No, don't.
No. Catz doesn't have to play, of course, cheesy or early pools to win games, but I gotta give it a nod. Like, we didn't get to see it that game. We got to see a lot of cool Catz like play leading into this, but I think my favorite moment, and this was granted in a game he lost, but like the late game ZVZ, Roach Hydra versus Roach Hydra. I think you were casting that night with me. I'm pretty sure it's the night you were here, where he like fungal growth and blinding clouded roaches and hydras, like a huge clump of them. and like just swarmed on top of that. Like it's Catz always has like the coolest moves, the smartest moves. They might seem weird and unorthodox, but I guarantee you they're thought out going into it. So that last game was a prime example. Anything that comes forward into this series, I sit here with a smile on my face because I know that even when Catz plays standard, he doesn't necessarily play typical, if that makes sense.
We have Jonsnow taking a little bit of a risk here, going for something that's very, very greedy. Went for, I believe, a 15 hatch and then a 16 pool. The only thing that would have made it worse is if he got in a gas first. But last game, he went gasless until 5 minutes. Maybe thinking along the same line, just going to out-greed Catz and get the edge that way.
Well, the nice thing for Jonsnow is you just see the hatchery coming down. I think that is a big scout compared to last game.
Yeah, hey, now a hatchery, that's nice.
I mean, I gotta give him credit though. I mean, if he had thought that was a 10-pull Baneling, those 2 spine crawlers would have been fantastic. It was just really unfortunate that it was like the one weird move in the world that completely made it so those 2 spine crawlers were worthless.
Well, let's think about it, right? Because we didn't really talk about it because we were just so fascinated by the fast metas. Whenever Catz went for a 13... Oh, he's going for the EO build, by the way. But whenever he went for a 13 pool, he would do what we talked about. He would be a little aggressive, and it would either work okay or not work at all, but then he'd keep being aggressive. He'd keep feeling on the pressure, and it would always be like, oh, it's held, it's held, it's held, and then suddenly the all-in finally works. Jonsnow was probably thinking the exact same thing, and it's like, well, I'm going to need these 2 sprinkles eventually, so I might as well get them now, be super, super safe, and, you know, what your opponent does to counter that is either be really greedy or they tech up. And like Catz, instead of doing like, all-ins, just got the tech. I really wonder if it was reactionary and not a planned fast meta build.
Well, drone goes down, but trades out an overlord for it. I think Catz will be okay with that trade for now.
Catz doesn't want him scouting this, so that's why he tried to block.
Yep. It's weird to see the +1 weapons instead of the carapace. I mean, this is unorthodox to say the least. I mean,
it's gotten more popular though.
Well, I mean, that's what I was gonna say. Like the evolution chamber was made. He saw this. How do you prepare for an upgrade attack, though, right? You know, you can't really match it of your own if you're too late. So the best thing you can do is get extra queens, maybe a spine card. Okay, there we go. Spine card comes down for Jonsnow. Because once more, he doesn't know that this is necessarily without banelings. He may think this is +1 carapace with banelings, but realistically, Catz is going +1 weapons with a hell of a lot of lings.
Yeah. To elaborate, one of the older builds, the ones that we haven't been seeing actually that much, is the +1 carapace, because with the +1 carapace, your lings get 2-shotted, not 1-shotted by banelings. So obviously that really helps in baneling wars. We've been seeing more often is exactly what Catz is doing, which is the +1 melee attack. And it leads into just a lot of lings and much better attacks on the third. It's also important to note is that Jonsnow in fact did go gasless until 5 minutes, so he's going to get these fast roaches, no speed, and better upgrades, but you give away your third. I don't know if Catz has actually scouted this or he just saw there was no speed and figured, you know, just guessed from that. But what you can do against someone who goes for no speed is that you can take your own really fast third, and they can't really do anything about it.
Well, when Catz did check earlier, he saw no gases at all, so maybe that was the prediction of no speed. Maybe it wasn't. Either way, this was a big advantage to him last time, too. Game number 1, having that third up so early. I mean, when you guys saw the huge roach advantage Catz had leading to the end of that game, make no mistake, it was because he had that third up for so long. He had so many drones mining. He had the money to max out. That's just so weird, though. So many lings are going to come in, and they're really not going to get a lot done. I mean, there's not a ton of roaches out waiting for him. There's certainly no banelings either. But 2 queens can hold this door for quite some time, especially with transfuses. He might be looking to kill a third, but he scouted the fact that there's no third. So, I mean, really, there's only one place to take these, and it's up against the wall.
Yeah. But the good news is that he doesn't have to throw them away. These +1, you know, like attack lings are going to be very effective against a small number of roaches, and that's the only thing you're going to leave behind when you want to defend your third. Either Jonsnow stays behind with all of his roaches, or he leaves a few, and that's when Catz counterattack gets really strong. So that's what Catz probably going to be looking to do. Just keep this third, you know, away as long as possible, and also be so threatening that Jonsnow feels like he can never push out.
Jonsnow having lost 2 overlords so far this game, I mean, that's a huge blind spot suddenly in the map. You look over here on the left side, guys, there's just no way. He's not, if anything comes through the third, through the middle of the map, he's not going to see it coming until it's too late. Catz has done a fantastic job catching the overlords. It's not something that's easy to do, because of course you don't want to send your queen halfway through the map off creep chasing them, but he's managed to snipe them where he can.
Yeah, and if you know your opponent doesn't have speed, then that's the one time where you feel absolutely comfortable doing it. This is exactly what happens, by the way. Even if all the roaches are here, you can get the cancel. DPS is too fast.
I like they've left a couple at the doorway. This is often a big mistake out of Zerg players. Protoss players, no problem. Zealot all day, every day. You're used to it. But Zerg players, oftentimes, they forget to close that door. They forget to leave a couple roaches behind. So, I like that of Jonsnow.
You can't warp in outside of the door, so...
No. Well, I just mean, like, those links could have run in it against most other players.
No, I know, but, like, you can leave the Zealot there because you can warp in outside the door.
Yeah.
You can't... Your units get stuck behind. I don't know if you know this, but there's like a Brood War game where Jaedong literally had like 60 supply of units stuck behind one Hydralisk.
Oh gosh, you knew something really insignificant about Jaedong? That's so cool.
It's like our Brood War, but it just happened to be a Jaedong.
I'm sorry.
That could have happened. Imagine like his roaches on hold position, and then he has like 50 roaches, and he's like, "Where's my army?"
That would suck. Yeah, actually, was it? I want to say Grubby in early StarCraft got Changeling blocked into a base one time by that.
Oh, that sounds awesome. People should do that more.
It's the ramps are a lot less choked. You remember, like, because it used to be like you'd
true.
have like one ramp space chokes like in the middle of the map. We haven't seen that in like I don't know 7 seasons.
There used to never be like natural ramps weren't really a thing at all.
Right? Like it's just, oh man, it's so weird just how crazy the maps have come for StarCraft 2. But anyways, a couple things wrap around here. They're gonna pick up a drone or two, but that's really about it. In fact, it's just a drone.
Yeah. But
Now, roach count's worth taking a look at this point, guys. Catz, alright, he's matching his opponent on roaches for the time being, but Jonsnow's only just started to put drones on this base. Catz has been mining off this for a long time, so what should have been him behind is him actually on par with his opponent. And I say behind only because he made so many lings. He invested in units that he really wasn't planning to use later on in the game. Hell, he went down a whole tech path. Those level 1 weapon upgrades are never really going to get utilized. But for now, he'll be coming up on level 2 weapons. He'll be meeting his opponent on even grounds, which means on a defensive fight, Cat's going to have a better time. Zerg versus Zerg, defender's advantage is more important than anything else. A lot of the times, I should say. Concaves are probably number 1, but next to that would be defender's advantage. Having those units be able to reinforce on time. Because Jonsnow, I mean, he can come across the map with a slightly heavier roach count, but his reinforcements, it's going to take forever to get across overgrowth.
Yeah. The upgrades are about to kick in for Jonsnow, so he's finally going to have 2-2 over maybe 2-0 for Catz. And that's good. You know, the longer the game goes on, what?
Jonsnow's APM, by the way, just spiking 400, no big deal.
The longer the game goes, the less these openers really matter. The fact that Jonsnow's third was later. The one thing it's only affecting right now is that Catz does have a little bit of a bigger bank, so a remake can be easier for him. But Jonsnow looking to make some moves, or at least deny a fourth.
It's 2-2 versus not quite 2-0. This is the same situation we saw last game, but Catz has got a beautiful concave sandwiching in the roaches of Jonsnow here. A couple of his own roaches a little bit stuck behind, not quite able to get in the fight, but even so, the reinforcements, that home field advantage we just finished talking about, is really going to come into effect here.
Well, Jonsnow just put him in a position where he sandwiched himself.
Yeah.
I can't believe he did that. That's the only reason that Catz is actually winning this engagement, I feel. I
think part of the idea was diving through so that he would get in and not get that concave working against him. He wasn't expecting Catz to have been pre-split. Not to the north of the mineral line, at least.
True.
So he walks out of this fight with a lot of roaches dead and down in supply. Catz could go for a counterattack right now. We may see him do that, but he might also just wait till he's maxed out before he actually pushes.
That little bit more of a bank that Catz has is now very, very important. You know, I thought Jonsnow was going to dance around a little bit, maybe trade like a few, and then defensive advantage would make up for anything that Catz had in favor, which is the bank. But now, Jonsnow down by 40 supply, his Spinecrawler is going to try and help out like a trooper right here. I guess the screens have a lot of transfuse as well.
I mean, the units are just bleeding out left and right for both players, but even with the Spinecrawler, even with a good couple transfuses, and they have been a good couple transfuses, Jonsnow still finds himself at a roach deficit. In this scenario, defender's advantage won't be enough. 29 to 10 roaches. A few queens are all that remains. But Catz's forces, well, actually, they're coming across the map. This first wave might get held off with the drones being pulled, but the second wave is not going to be. There's just no way Jonsnow holds. There's too many roaches.
He has nothing in favor right now. His spank is still lower. He's actually really doesn't have a lot of minerals right now. Actually has enough gas to do stuff, but no minerals. Like if he had a fourth on the way or like a couple more spine crawlers, he holds and then rebounds very nicely.
Look at this though. Catz, he might lose the army fight, but he's danced around very much intentionally. He was picking off a couple drones while this was going on. Decided to stop that, kill the roaches, win the game outright. 20-9. If there's a spine crawler, maybe that's just barely enough, but it's not here.
drone pull really signifies the ending here. It was just, you know, he was already lower on drones.
Look at the resources lost as we get to the end of the game here, guys. I want to stress, like, Jonsnow didn't lose this in such a one-sided fashion, even though it looked like it. I mean, the reality is Catz managed to edge out a win, and it snowballed pretty hard. Jonsnow, he did not get caught with his pants down. Yes, that was an awkward engagement to the third, and that's where everything started to go downhill, but, I mean, even defending at home against impossible odds, held out as best he could, but GG finally called, and Catz will take game number 2 in this best of 5. Oh man, Jonsnow, bring it back, brother. You gotta do it, man. If you're just tuning us in, or tuning in, guys, Jonsnow now one loss away from utter and complete defeat here in the round of 8. This is the last best of 5 we'll be casting today. As stated before, B-Lord vs. Ruff is currently happening on a Spanish stream. And, well, we'll see if Catz can close this out 3-0 or if Jonsnow can start turning this series around. Other than that, though, guys, we didn't play a commercial break before, so we're going to stick one in now. 2 minutes. Nothing too long. We'll see you back in 2 minutes for more Copa America. Alright, welcome back, guys. This is game number 3 here in Copa America. Before the introductions, a very important question was asked in chat. Rifkin, what do you think about Kappa? I think it's a very offensive phrase, and you guys should absolutely never type that in chat. Kappa is bad. But, getting into this best of 5, we're in game number 3. Currently 1 loss away from utter defeat, from being out of Copa America. He's come this far. Can he go a little bit further? Spawning in the bottom right corner of the map, the Blue Zerg player from Solaris Gaming, Jonsnow.
Never left as the red Zerg. It is Root Catz.
Alright, so Catz, I gotta give it to him. He's pretty good with his roaches. But I think a lot of that Roach strength comes from his build orders. Prioritizing the timings of that third, making sure that he's able to do it, because as you pointed out, if your opponent's not got speed, they can't really touch you. He's really good at analyzing scenarios. Like, I mean, Katz's strength doesn't come from, like, APM. I don't think he'll ever be the fastest player in the world, but he's definitely one of the smartest. And that's including Koreans, that's including coaches, that's including Europeans. I mean, he comes up with these weird strategies, these good strategies, and even in normal scenarios like we just witnessed in game number 2, he can find ways to edge ahead without causing a lot of damage. I mean, it was a passive game. Jonsnow's build order was crisp, but Catz still pulled ahead.
Right now, what I'm looking at, well, Jonsnow did just the gas.
Is it your monitor for your computer screen?
No, it's a webcam. Anyways, is like showcasing like what's really strong about gas openers, or what's really weak about non-gas openers, right? Like we cast some other ZVZs, and one player chooses to go for one, and the other, and it evens out, and it becomes like a Roach war. And we're like, well, you know, it didn't really depend on like the openers because it evened out pretty nicely. Well, with Catz, it just seems like Catz is just like, I know exactly what to do against gasless, and I'm like punishing you for it every single time. Now, I think Jonsnow in that last game was just him, you know, putting himself into a sandwich, but it feels like Catz is comfortable.
I really want to actually go over that too, because for a lot of people who haven't played the Roach War, haven't watched a lot of the Roach Wars, I mean, the reason why he did that wasn't because he's just some idiot who dived into Katz's roaches. A lot of the time, you try to dive in with your roaches as the attacker because you want to prevent your opponent from getting a concave. If you can hit and spread fast enough, suddenly you got the concave. And this is the way it works for a lot of scenarios. But Catz, rather than being split, rather than stacking, was split. And that's why we saw that dive work so horribly against Jonsnow.
Yeah, and the speed at which he did it as well, I'm actually wondering if he had clicked on Katz's roaches and saw the upgrade advantage for himself, and that's when he really went to hit it as soon as possible. But we have some lings on the way for Catz. Jonsnow does put his Baling Nest. I think this is the first Baling Nest we've seen this entire series, by the way. Just think about that.
Actually, that is a weird thing to consider in a ZVC. You are correct. It's almost as weird as not seeing roaches, but... the Baling Nest for Jonsnow, I actually kind of like this. I really don't think this is going to be the aggressive Baling Nest. We see it where, like, you know, the 6-minute mark, all drones are cut and it's just pure lings. He's getting a decent amount right now, and if he does dedicate to this, I don't think it's going to work. But if he... he is going to dedicate to this. I was going to say, this is a fantastic defensive option for dealing with early aggression. On this map especially, because you're not going to see 8 roaches pushing across Way Station in these spawn locations off of creep anytime soon. But perhaps trying to take advantage of his opponent through the same methods. Either way, Catz knows this is out. He's seen the Baling Nest, so a spy car is going to come down. It really doesn't take too much to deal with this. I mean, you can't fully wall off. There's that. But, I mean, other than that, we got +1 Carapace on the way. His own Zerglings can dance around Banelings for so long. And, of course, for those who don't know, the +1 Carapace upgrade, it lets you take a Baneling hit and live with 1 HP. It's a big deal.
Catz is supply blocked right now. So is Jonsnow, but Jonsnow has an Overlord on the way. Catz doesn't. That's a big deal. I'm actually really worried for Catz right now. Sparkler finishes just in the nick of time. Jonsnow doesn't have quite enough lings to tackle everything that Catz has, but Catz, I think, realizes that he's also in trouble, pulls the drones.
That's a very smart move. A lot of Banelings will be wasted here trying to dive into that drone line. But of course, there's no drones for them to dive into. Spinecaller gets surrounded. There's nothing here to defend, and Catz is just going to go for the counterattack behind this.
That's probably his best move, honestly. I think he was really caught unawares. Yes, he scouted the Baneling Nest, but he, you know, that could be a defensive Baneling Nest.
The Queen's gonna go down though. There's nothing at home.
Yeah. Well, no, he didn't actually do Banelings in there.
Can you really base trade in this scenario? Pardon my pun here, but it's looking over for Catz. Jonsnow.
Yeah.
This wasn't even like a surprise attack, cheesy build. Oh my God, the drones! Oh, this is over, is what this is. Catz.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, man. Those Zerglings rushing back home, perhaps wishing he'd left them on the defensive.
Yeah.
Loses the hatchery.
Jonsnow right here is saying, like, look, man, I'm trying to go my gases calm style, and you're just being a prick about it. So,
Catz,
all in.
Catz, can you not be a dick? Bro. If you want to go roaches, bro, I'm gonna go Banelings. Well, the +1 Carapace finishes like way too late. Catz is gonna try and get the hatchery back up, but I mean, the drone count is just beyond repair. I feel.
You know, he didn't confirm that it was an all-in until that Overlord saw the lings, but it was the supply block that screwed Catz over. Like, Catz is probably saving up larva. You know, I didn't actually check, but he was probably saving up larva, like, thinking, like, this could be for the all-in, this could not be for the all-in. And then, you know, you're trying to use all your larva and your supply blocks, that's game over in a situation like this.
All right, GG, well played. Jonsnow will take a game back from Catz. He will not go down without a fight. So 2-1. Now the score, if you're just tuning in, guys. Jonsnow down still, but not out. And what's the next map here? Merry-Go-Round. This is another map that's really not bad for banelings, but it really is influenced by your spawn locations, I think. There's a lot of times like where, especially if you spawn top left versus bottom middle, the overlord in the bottom middle will see your opponent's ramp before they'll see your ramp. It's a weird dynamic like that. So, I mean, a lot of things can get affected by scouting information alone. We know the power of knowledge in StarCraft 2 outweighs most things. But we'll see if that ends up actually influencing the map or not. Either way, we'll just wait for the admins to make this for us. Happily and kindly. For those... Oh, no, go ahead.
Catz did a 13-13 build on Merry-Go-Round. This is one of the maps where he's very, very aggressive.
But what I was going to say, sorry, before we bumped there, just a reminder to everybody, the semifinals will not be played out tonight. The semifinals will be cast tomorrow. So same time, same Copa America channel, just over elsewhere. And now, is that 2-1 in the favor of Ruff or 2-1 against Ruff?
I don't know. They didn't learn how to say scores. They also said 3-2 Major and Major won.
Okay, so maybe that means Ruff is up 2, I guess?
I think that's what it means. Yeah, actually, they put it the correct way in Skype, so... I
don't even have Skype open for I feel like this is how Americans must feel with, like, date and month. Because, like, month, day, year versus day, month, year, or whatever.
Yo, we make the most sense. Get on our level.
I know, I'm the one who pointed that out to you.
I know, I've been pointing it to everyone else. I just, like, bring it up randomly, too, like, quietness, then, like, you know why Americans are right?
So, you know, unrelated to the elephant conversation we're having, I want to talk about dates for a moment. Like,
pretty much.
So speaking of apartheid, dates in America, like where's the segue there? How do you tie that into a conversation?
Yo, my friends keep calling me like the segue master or something because like apparently they don't get my segues, man. To me, I connect the dots very quickly, but they'll be like, so speaking of elephants, and I'll be like, yo, speaking of StarCraft, and they'll be like, like to me, it's like elephant in the room. StarCraft?
Shut up. That is so, like, loosely connected. Oh, boy, I got host again.
That's what I do, though. That's why they make fun of me.
Yo, did everyone say good? Did everyone say go? I've got host. I always hate getting a host. It's too much responsibility.
Catz said go. Jonsnow said go.
Yeah, I'm gonna go then. Alright, guys. Merry-Go-Round is gonna be the map. We'll see you here in just a sec. Welcome back to Copa America, ladies and gentlemen. But before we dip into this series, people are asking, has Ruff played yet? Has B-Lord played yet? They are playing at the same time on the Spanish stream for Copa America. So you can either go to the team page here on Twitch or go to Team Liquid to go watch that series. It's currently 2-1 in the favor of Ruff. But that's neither here nor there. Spawning in the bottom central portion of Merry-Go-Round here in the round of 8 for Copa America, ladies and gentlemen, the Blue Zerg player from Solaris Gaming, Jonsnow.
Nipper left as the red Zerg, it is Root Catz.
I was so glad when they got rid of Polar Knight, because doing like directional introductions was such a pain. You know, you always want to be like top left, but really it's top middle. Merry-Go-Round is like that same level of ugh. Because I always want to be like, in the bottom right, or that central portion, you know, of the map.
Yeah, it's the one that I see just on the bottom.
Yeah, I wish, you know, it'd be so cool if we could just say, spawning over here.
It'd be so cool if we could like use a clock, but we can't tell time, so we can't.
But how would the digital clock help you? It's right here above the minimap. I don't understand.
analog clock, bro. 12
All right.
o'clock, 6 o'clock.
Well-
Can't tell it. That's why I need digital.
Catz with the number 13.
Yeah.
Once again.
So, who called it? Who has all the caster knowledge? No, I'm just kidding. This is a guess. An informed guess. But
You could have
nonetheless.
played that off. You could have sounded so
No,
cool. Why
No,
did
I
you
couldn't.
bail?
No. I literally had the tone of voice that made me sound not cool.
You
I
could
was
have
like,
even been like
"Yeah, it could've
neener
been."
neener boo boo Rifkin, like nah, in your face. And
No, because I'm saving up for the really cool moments, right? Where I'm just like he's gonna 3 racks 3 times in a row and it happens, and I'm gonna be like,
I called the 5 racks at MLG, by the way. Brent was like
Yo,
so
you
mad at me
did.
for doing that.
you did. I can't believe that.
All right. Well, like you said, if you shoot enough things, you'll hit something eventually. Speed on the way here for Catz. He made this work out fantastically last time. Now, granted, this is something that Jonsnow can hold off if done absolutely correctly. His build order is fine. He didn't skip. He didn't get greedy. He's even got his own gas coming. You can hold off on the ramp for a little bit. But a lot of the times, the goal for Catz, if it's not to kill the drones, it's to kill the hatchery at the natural base. And if Jonsnow really wants to hold this, that might be a sacrifice he has to make.
Of course, Jonsnow seeing no. He actually got lucky spawn positions and lucky overload scouts. He sees the no
Yeah.
hatch immediately. Sees all the lings coming out. The one thing he's not gonna be able to say is whether or not there is a baling nest in the main. Unless he gets a lucky ling in there. But you're just gonna have to assume the worst, honestly.
Well, he starts up a spine crawler right away. This will probably buy the attention of those lings off the hatchery. You can always cancel this if necessary. Will be necessary.
Yeah, and he also starts his own baneling nest. Forgoes speed for a little bit.
Okay, so let's talk about how speed influences this, guys. This is really important, and this is absolutely disregarding the banelings. A lot of the times in these ling fights, adrenal glands, we know this doesn't give any actual attack speed or any bonus to damage. But what it does do is allow the lings to surround faster, to get the concaves, to be able to do damage on a melee basis. Jonsnow, it doesn't matter if you have more lings if your opponent's got the surround on you. Catz dives through this real quick. He's going to go for the spine crawler. This might be a mistake, though. It's a little bit greedy. Queen's going to shell away at this. Cancel goes down, and not a single drone's died yet. But here come the banelings, and this is where it all changes. When the Fire Nation attacks.
Oh.
Spine crawler dies. Zerglings die. He's got his own banelings coming at the top of the ramp. Will they even finish in time, though?
There's still 2. And he pre-splits, but that means the lings get even, have a much more fun time.
This is a little bit rough. I mean, down to 8 workers.
Yeah.
He's not out of the game just yet. Surprisingly enough, a Zerg player can sustain off a low worker count, but Catz is still going to go for a lot of Zerglings behind this.
Oh, he keeps getting drone kills as well. 2 more go down for no lings of Catz.
I made some more, though. I mean, he's been joining behind this at the natural. He knows the fights in the main. These banelings are not getting the best connects, though. I mean, honestly, that one does, though! Oh, Catz feels the burn!
But he needs another few banelings. Like, Catz, again, this is a situation where Catz just does not give up.
Yeah, one baneling, if it gets a miracle hit, puts Jonsnow back in this game. But the chances of this one baneling getting that miracle hit are so slim to none.
It is so dangerous to put all your drones in the natural, by the way. It seems like such a good idea because Catz is really focusing on the main. But, like, so are you. Like, the time these builds 2 banelings in the natural and you're just not paying attention is... Oh, I feel it's so much harder.
Yeah, it's 7 workers to 13. Catz might be on 1 base, but guys, there's no advantage to having the second base if you don't have enough workers to split there. 6 workers on 1 base is just as good on 2. This
Just
is like
leave your
worse and
lings in
worse.
your drone line.
No, this is... I feel like this is too far gone at this point. Jonsnow, even if he doesn't lose too many more at this point, has already lost enough. Catz just needs to put a hatchery down and he's good to go, but he's still sticking on 1 base. He's 5 banelings on the way, 10 more lings.
Don't be silly, Ripkin. 1 base to the end.
Oh, he gets a baneling hit in the main. They didn't even catch that. Got the tail end of it. Drones are going to go down. 2 left remaining. GG, well played, Catz. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll take this series 3-1 and move on to the semifinals for Copa America.